What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. This video, long overdue. I know. Sorry, I've been doing Christmas stuff and hanging out with family, having fun. Currently in Ohio right now, up in Cleveland, visiting family again. But finally got some time to sit down and record this one. Albeit it's the day of the first NY6 bowl game. We're going to see Pitt and Michigan State tonight. You're going to see my predictions of that and the big college football playoff games as well. Sorry if this room is echoey. Doing the best I can do on a little bit of a short schedule. So getting this video out for you guys again. Sorry it's taken me so long, but this is going to be my NY6 college football playoff prediction video. Hope you guys are excited. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but if you could subscribe, like the video, it'd help me out a ton. That would mean a lot to me. Comment down below as well. Anything, I generally respond to comments down there. So yeah, without further ado, we're just going to go ahead, get right into the predictions. Got 6 fantastic games, the top 12 teams in action this weekend for the rest of this week here. And it's going to start tonight. Again, this game on tonight, all times you see are Eastern Standard Time. And of course, the dates up there as well. But this, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, you're looking at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. You got the 12th ranked Pittsburgh Panthers, ACC champions, and the 10th ranked Michigan State Spartans. They're going to be without their stars in the Peach Bowl. So what I've done a little bit differently. Oh, also all lines and odds are as of recording this video, subject to change. This one probably won't change a whole lot. Michigan State is the 3.5 point favorite here. The over and under is 55. Even, and what I've done is I've actually put the series history on this list as well. So you see Michigan State all time against Pitt is 6-0-1. That's 6 wins, no losses, and 1 tie. You got some notable opt-outs here in this one, though. Of course, Pitt is going to be without their star quarterback, Kenny Pickett, a Heisman finalist this year. He was fantastic. And Michigan State's going to be without with star running back Kenneth Walker, both of them preparing to go into the NFL draft. So some things to watch for here in this one. Nick Patty is going to be at quarterback for Pitt. How does he work with his weapons? You got a wide receiver by the name of Taysir Mack. He's also opting out for Pitt. But as far as I'm concerned, Jordan Addison is going to play. And that's my key here for Sparty is that's the big thing, right? Michigan State, we've seen their pass defense get shredded all year long. It got shredded, especially when you go back and watch that game against Ohio State. Got really shredded there in that game. Part of the reason they were able to beat Michigan too is Michigan doesn't have as good of a passing attack as the Ohio State Buckeyes. So of course, but they've had trouble controlling the pass all year. Also, what led to their second loss at Purdue. They got to be able to contain Jordan Addison. I know Kenny Pickett's not going to be the quarterback, but Addison's still going to go up and make some plays. But the Spartans got some weapons too. Jalen Naylor has been good to go. He's been green lighted to play here in this game. But they also have Jaden Reed. So that'll be something interesting to watch there. They got some weapons. How are they going to fill in with Kenneth Walker here? Of course, they have a transfer coming in, but don't believe he's playing because, again, coming in for next year. Overall, I do think this should be a pretty exciting game. But even though Kenny Pickett is not playing in this game, my prediction is going to be Pitt. I do think Pitt is going to win this game. I have by a score of 34-30. I think it's a relatively competitive game. I do think Michigan State's going to keep it close because their front seven, I think, going to be able to contain the run pretty well. But it's that pass defense that really worries me. Maybe Michigan State turns it up here and Pitt without Kenny Pickett. We'll see how good their passing attack really is. But I expect Jordan Addison to have a big day tonight, make a lot of plays, and lead this Pittsburgh Panthers team to a 12-win season tonight. I have them beating Michigan State by 4 points in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So there's one off the board. Let's go on now to New Year's Day. We'll come back to the playoff games because those are the games everyone's excited for. But in their first meeting here between Oklahoma State and Notre Dame, the 9th ranked team and the 5th ranked team respectively, they're going to have a party in the desert. It's the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale. Always a fun time. Interesting thing, Notre Dame is 1-4 in the Fiesta Bowl. They've lost 4 straight. So we'll see what happens here in this game. Some notable opt-outs here are, of course, on the Notre Dame. Oh, by the way, this is 1 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN on New Year's Day. Notre Dame, the 2.5 point favorite with the over-under being 45.5. As I've said, this is the first meeting between these two schools. And yeah, so sorry, I said turn stuff off on my phone. Probably heard that. I apologize. But some notable opt-outs here are on the Notre Dame side of things. Two guys preparing for the NFL draft. You got Kyle Hamilton and Kyron Williams, a safety and running back, respectively. Both of them are out, not playing in this game on New Year's Day. Again, that is as of right now. Of course, there could be more later down the line. But this is Marcus Freeman's first game. Of course, Brian Kelly left to go to Baton Rouge to go coach LSU. So this is Marcus Freeman's first game, and gosh, dude, the players love this guy. I really like Marcus Freeman as well. I think he can be a fantastic coach. This is going to be a great chance to prove himself here in this game. And on the health and safety of Jalen Warren here for Oklahoma State, of course, did not play a lot in that Big 12 championship game. In fact, I don't think played a single snap. He is practicing. Mike Gundy, I believe, has said he expects to play in this game. So that's going to be a big thing for Notre Dame, right? But when you look at the dry desert, there's going to be a lot of defense here in this one. Notre Dame's defense has been really good this year, but for as good as Notre Dame's defense has been, Oklahoma State's has just been better. A little interesting thing here, of course, Jim Knowles, he is going to coach in this game, but as soon as this game is done, we'll start to go prepare for Notre Dame again, as his new team, the Ohio State Buckeyes, are going to be having Notre Dame come to Columbus first game of the regular season next year. So a little bit of an interesting thing there. Knowles gets kind of an early look at what might be to come for this Notre Dame team. Definitely going to have a new starting quarterback next year. That's also a question here. Who starts? I probably would assume it would be Jack Cohn, right? But this one here should be a lot of fun. I expect a hard-hitting matchup. Lots of things going back and forth here, but defense really is going to decide this game. Now, when you look here, who's the more reliable quarterback? Spencer Sanders has loved giving it to the opposing teams this year, and Notre Dame still has some ball hawking safeties on the other side of the ball, even without Kyle Hamilton out. But I think that loss of Kyron Williams hurts especially. I know he hasn't had a fantastic year this year, but he still had a really good year, was a really vital part of that Notre Dame offense. And I think without him, yes, they have a speedster running back there as well, but he doesn't really have quite the skill set that Kyron Williams does. And I think Jalen Warren practicing, the stud transfer over from Utah State, I think that's going to make quite a difference here. And I do think in a defensive battle, Oklahoma State just scores more points. I do have Oklahoma State winning 24-21. I know Spencer Sanders hasn't had a great year this year, but at times he has looked very, very good. It's been very much a down season for Spencer Sanders, but at times he's looked pretty good. And I expect him to look good here on New Year's Day, lead his Oklahoma State Cowboys to a win over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Jim Knowles' final game as the defensive coordinator. And what, again, should be a pretty defensive game. And then Knowles will get ready to play Notre Dame again on September 3rd of 2022. All right. Moving on now, the Rose Bowl game. This one should be a lot of fun, right? This one is at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. Features the 11th ranked Pac-12 champion Utah Utes facing against the 6th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. A young Ohio State team here are going to be without some key veteran players, wide receivers Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, defensive tackle Haskell Garrett, and not listed here just because I don't have space, but offensive lineman Nicholas Petit-Frere not going to play. All those guys not going to play in this game for Ohio State. Those are very, very vital parts of this team, especially when you look at guys by the name of Olave and Wilson, who are going to be two of the top wide receivers to go in this spring's NFL draft. But with all that being said, Ohio State still the 4.5-point favorite here, over and under 64. Expect some points here to be scored in this game. In their only other meeting, Ohio State won that game, and they won it pretty substantially, but that was a long time ago. The thing that I really like about Utah here, and the thing that Oregon just couldn't handle, was their physicality. This is an Ohio State team that lost to Oregon. Now, granted, Oregon did not look nearly as good. They did not look nearly as good the rest of the season after beating Ohio State in Columbus. But this Ohio State team does not seem to handle physicality well. And by that, the run game has been an issue for them, not on offense. We'll get to that in a minute, but on the defensive side, right? The two games that they lost this year against Oregon and Michigan, they couldn't stop the run. CJ Verdell, when he was still healthy, was able to run all over the Buckeyes, and so was Hassan Haskins. So that's going to be something for Ohio State. You need to play as physical, if not more physical than Utah, if you're going to want to win this game. And that's something that's a lot easier said than done, especially with the way Ohio State's defense has played this year, which has not really been up to standard. But speaking of the run game, we know Tavion Thomas has been really good, but for the past couple of games, Trevion Henderson has kind of been slowing down a little bit. He's got to really get back in there. We know this Ohio State team, even without Olave and Wilson, you still have Jackson Smith and Jigba. He can make some explosive plays down the field, and it's going to be a really interesting thing to see how this Ohio State wide receiver group is going to look, because this offense right now, without Petit Frere, without Olave, without Wilson, really is going to be the offense that we are going to see next year from Ohio State, with, of course, some minor tweaks and changes, right? But the wide receiver group, I think, is very important for Ohio State, of course, because of the talent that they have. But Trevion Henderson, watch him, because, again, it goes in with that physicality part, right? My biggest question for Utah is can the Utes slow down the Buckeyes' explosiveness? Of course, we know C.J. Stroud, one of the most explosive playmakers in all of the country. Even without, again, Olave and Wilson, just talked about this, still has probably one of the best group of wide receivers in the nation, led by Jackson Smith and Jigba, who will no doubt be a top 5 wide receiver next year, might even be the best wide receiver next year, who knows. But all of that being said, I do think Utah is going to come out here and play the more physical game. And Utah right now, of course, Ohio State's still going to be the favorite here, but without Olave, Wilson, without Garrett, Ohio State's losing more of their bigger playmakers. So this is a nice chance for Utah to really break into it. But I do think Ohio State survives in the Rose Bowl. I think it's a fairly high-scoring game. It's a close game throughout, but I do think just the explosiveness of Ohio State is going to be able to let Ohio State win the Rose Bowl here in Pasadena. 35-38, my final score prediction. I do see the Buckeyes winning this one. Utah, I think it's been a great experience here. This is their first ever Rose Bowl, but I think they're going to come up just short against the Ohio State Buckeyes. And then the last non-playoff semifinal game here, 8:45 on ESPN. It's the All-State Sugar Bowl. Got the 7th-ranked team in the nation, the Baylor Bears, Big 12 champs. I think they should be ranked 6th ahead of Ohio State. Clearly not what the committee did. And Ole Miss, they're both going to be looking for sweet, sugary victory in New Orleans. No opt-outs as of yet. There might be some guys here and there, but anyone notable? Not really. Matt Corral is going to play. All the other NFL guys here probably going to play here in this game. Baylor doesn't really have much, but for Ole Miss, again, that big one being Matt Corral. But speaking of the quarterback position, when you look at Baylor, my apologies, Mississippi, Ole Miss is the 1.5 point favorite, with the over and under being 55.5, and Baylor has won the only other matchup between these two teams. Now, on to Baylor's quarterback situation. Gary Bohannon was not healthy last game in the Big 12 championship, but Dave Aranda expects him to be healthy and ready for this game. So we'll see if it's Gary Bohannon or Blake Shapen, the freshman that was amazing in the Big 12 championship game. And I think the guy who should be the starter going forward, but we'll see if it's Bohannon. We'll see if it's Shapen. We'll see what happens. Baylor's offense should flow just fine, no matter who's at quarterback. But speaking of quarterback, you got to look at the Ole Miss side, and Matt Corral is one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL draft this year. This is his final big NFL statement. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. But what I'm very interested to watch is the Bears defense has been pretty solid this year, but this Rebels offense is one of the best in the nation. That is the battle to watch here in this game. If you want to get even more specific, it's going to be Baylor's defensive backs against Matt Corral and his gigantic arm, along with the absolutely amazing amount of playmakers he has there at his disposal, even in the backfield as well. I think this is going to be a very interesting game. I could see it being high scoring. I could see it be pretty low scoring as well, but I'm going to go with the high scoring option, and I think I'm going to go with Vegas here in this one. I have Ole Miss winning by a touchdown, 38-31. The score could be a lot closer than that, yes, but I do think with all of Ole Miss's firepower. I do think Baylor's going to stay in this game. Baylor's been a really good team this year, but I just think that Ole Miss going to be able to outpower Baylor on the offensive end, get that extra possession, that extra touchdown to go and win the game. There are my New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. And now we get into college football playoff predictions, right? This is what it's all about. The 4th ranked team, the Cincinnati Bearcats, who they're going to hope the slipper still fits. They're taking on number 1 Alabama. It's the Cinderella versus the powerhouse. Alabama's favored by 13.5. This is the 3:30 game on ESPN. Of course, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, over and under 57.5. And Bama has never lost to the Bearcats, but something feels different this year, right? I know most people are going to be picking Bama to win this game. And you'll see my prediction for this game here in a little bit. But I do think Cincinnati is going to be able to hang around, and I'm not saying beat Bama, but I do think they're going to be able to give Bama somewhat of a challenge, right? I do think this Cincinnati team is where they need to be to give Bama a good challenge. And one of the players that's going to help them do that is Desmond Ridder. Now he's going on the other side of the line. You have Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner. We know what he can do. He's been fantastic. But how does Desmond Ridder play in this game? That's going to be a huge thing for Cincinnati. You need Desmond Ridder's leadership ability, playmaking ability to show up in this game, not just throwing the football, but running the football as well. Maybe give Bama some different looks on play action and things like that. This Bama defense has shown that if you cut it, it will bleed. We saw it against Florida, against LSU, against Auburn, and for a little bit there against Georgia, but Bama's offense slowly started to take form. Georgia just didn't have the offense to keep with Alabama. Cincinnati does, and especially when you look at their running back room as well with Jerome Ford, 19 touchdowns this year. He's going to be a big part of that offense as well. Hence to the second point there, the run game. Just talked about Jerome Ford. He's been terrific for Cincinnati this year. When you look on the other side, though, you got Brian Robinson, who hasn't really been what Bama needed him to be this year. I believe he's only averaging around 5 yards a carry, which is still good. Don't get me wrong. Still a solid number there for Brian Robinson, but not really a Nick Saban level standard, right? We're used to these Alabama teams having a lot more of a aggressive and powerful run game than it has this year. It's really been reliant on Bryce Young in that passing attack. So the run game here for Bama, again, you're going to need to mix it up because this Cincinnati front is really good. And they also have a guy by the name of Ahmad Sauce Gardner in the defensive back as well. That surely is going to be matched up with Jamison Williams. John Mechie, of course, is out. So that Bama wide receiver room takes a little bit of a hit. But we all know what Jamison Williams can do for this Alabama team. How will the Cats defense, and again, I just talked about this, you need Ahmad Gardner to be a leader on that defense as well, because this Bama offense, especially passing-wise, is electric. Jamison Williams is a big play threat no matter where he lines up, running the slant, running the fly, whatever he runs, he is a big play threat. They need to know where number 1 is on the field at all times. The Bearcats come into this game with a lot of underdog energy. They've thrived through it. They've lived through it. It's what has got them to this point. And as much as I would love it if Cincinnati won this game, just for the story, I was born in Ohio, for the Ohio storyline, for everything like that. There are only 2 words that fit this game, and it's roll tide. Cincinnati, I think, is going to keep this one close. They're going to stay in it, and maybe they might even have a lead at halftime. But Alabama is just Alabama. They're still one of the best teams, if not the best team in the nation this year. Definitely could win it. I see them winning this game 34-26. Alabama works their way to another national title game, ending the Cinderella run of Cincinnati. It was very fun while it lasted, and we'll see if Luke Fickell and the Bearcats can get back here next year. They have the games to prove it next year as well. We'll talk about all that next offseason. But as of right now, I do think this is going to be a much better game than people anticipate, but I think Alabama still comes out on top. And then the final game, probably the game of bowl season, the game of the year. The Georgia Bulldogs at number 3 in the nation versus the number 2 Michigan Wolverines. This is going to be an old school field type game. A lot of battling at the offensive line, a lot of running the football, passing the football when needed. It's going to be one of those types of games. We'll talk more about Keys a little bit. This is the Capital One Orange Bowl, the second playoff semifinal, 7:30 on ESPN. Georgia is favored by 7.5, with the over and under being 45.5. And these two teams have each won one game against each other. They've only met twice, and this is the first time they're going to meet in 55 years. And it's the biggest stage that these two teams have ever faced on. So who will come out on top? As I talked about, both offenses rely a lot on the run game. This is going to be an old school Big Ten style game type feel where the run game is going to be relied upon heavily. And I could name numerous guys on both sides of the ball that are going to be key contributors in this game. For Georgia, you got Cook, you got White, lots of other guys back there as well. For Michigan, you got Corum, you got Haskins, other guys there as well. It's going to be a very run-heavy game. But that's not the thing I'm interested in. Both of these teams are going to run the football, and we know that. And if you go down to the third point there, the battle at the line of scrimmage, these two teams arguably have the two best offensive lines in the nation. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But I'm interested in which side has better luck passing the ball. You have Stetson Bennett over here, who is not a fantastic quarterback by any means, but I do think he should be getting more credit than what he's getting. Yes, he's not a big name player. People are going to go, who's Stetson Bennett? If this is the first college football game you're watching this year. And if it is, well, you're going to get to watch a good one. But when you look on the other side at Cade McNamara, a little bit more of an experienced guy there. And might have the better playmaking, but Stetson Bennett has the highest passer rating of any quarterback, I believe, in the nation, but definitely of any quarterback that's in the playoff field. So a couple key things to watch there. And then the battle at the line of scrimmage. Which team wins the line of scrimmage? Again, both these teams have the two best offensive lines in the nation, but on the defensive end as well, both of these teams love to rush the quarterback. They love to get in your face, get the pass rush going. That's going to be another key interesting thing to watch here in this game. This has instant classic potential. I see instant classic written all over this one. This is just going to be a fantastic game. But for my prediction, I asked myself one simple question. Which team right now do I trust more? Right now, I trust Michigan more. I do think Michigan has the better wins. They've been more battle tested. And really, I could go either way on this game. So that's it, right? Michigan's the winner. Not so fast. We know both teams can run. We know both teams have great defense. I'm going to give the defensive edge to Georgia in this game. Yes, I do think Michigan has the better pass rush, but overall, I think Georgia has the better defense, has the better defensive scheme, and I do think that their passing attack is a little bit better than the Michigan Wolverines passing attack here, and that is why I think the Georgia Bulldogs will win a fairly low-scoring game, but there will be some points put up on the board. I got the Bulldogs winning 23-20 to, for me, set up a rematch of 2018 and an all SEC national championship game between Georgia and Alabama, a rematch of the SEC title game this year as well. This one's going to be close. Again, I could see Michigan winning this one, but I think the Georgia passing attack gets that extra big play to help Georgia win this game. So there you go. All my New Year's 6 bowl predictions are done. Finally, I know it took forever. I'm sorry about it, but it's done. I hope it was worth it. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, anything like that. That's going to do it for me. I will be back reviewing these games once it's all said and done. Once bowl season's over, I will review everything. I'll do a separate review for New Year's 6 college football playoff games. And then we'll jump right into the giant national championship preview that I did last year for Ohio State Bama. We'll do one like that for whatever two teams happen to play in this year. So that's going to do it for me. Remember to play hard, tailgate harder. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Goodbye.